Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Another day on the Wave Venturer 1100 two-stroke jet ski rebuild. So if you were with us in the last video, you would have seen we took the jet pump out and we put a new sleeve in it. A little bit more work than what we thought it was going to be, but we managed to get it done and it looks superb. So in this video, what we're going to do is go and spend a bit of time on the inside of the hull, getting it all cleaned up, looking spotless. So when we get the motor all back together, she's all ready to go. Let me show you what we're going to be taking care of. Alright, so as you can see there, we've got a fair bit of gunk in the bottom of the hull. So we're going to clean all that up, get that all looking nice. This part here is the biggest part here, so as you can see, that foam's got a bit of damage on it. Now there's a bit of a story behind that. So when I first bought this ski years ago, the motor inside it was actually C solid. Now what I went and done was tried freeing it up with petrol and CRC and everything else inside the crankcase. Without even thinking, I went and grabbed the grinder to cut the con rods and she caught on fire. And this was the result of the little fire that we had. Luckily I had a hose nearby and we managed to get it out pretty quickly. Didn't do any damage other than a little bit of a flare on the foam, but it does look ugly as now, so we're going to try and take care of this. I've been doing a little bit of looking on YouTube how they clean up foam and stuff, and they reckon a sanding block and give it a bit of a rub back and it should come up like new. So guess we'll go ahead and see how we go, see what happens. Alright guys, so we went to make a start on it and we found the telltale hose behind the fuel tank all cracked up and stuff, so I thought we need to go and get some new stuff. Unfortunately it was a Sunday when we started, so I had to wait for today, go and get some new stuff. So we're going to go and fit this up, then we can start cleaning underneath the fuel tank, get that fuel tank back in place and then start cleaning on the inside of the hull. Let's get into it. Alright guys, so as you can see we've got our new telltale line in. We've got the speedo cable and the telltale line all clipped up nicely to the top of the hole there. And on this side we've got the throttle cable here and our loom that goes to the electrical box here, all clipped up nicely on this side of the hole. So the next thing we're going to do here is we're going to take care of these. Thought while we're replacing the other lines we may as well take care of the fuel lines as well. They're a bit hard, so we've got a new fuel line, we'll go ahead, pull them out, cut some new pieces, chuck them back in. Alright, new fuel lines are in, looking fantastic. Now let's go ahead, get a bucket, get some washing detergent, clean that front of the hull so we can get that tank back in and hook it back up. Alright, so we've just cleaned out the bottom of the hull. It's looking pretty good. I've just gone and had a bit of a play with this. So what I've just gone and done, got a wire brush and just give it a bit of a run across there. Trying to get the clear foam back to the top, and then what we might do is try and give it a bit of a sand down, see how it cleans up. Fingers crossed it comes out nice and white and we'll have a nice looking hull. So let's get into that and see how we go. Alright guys, so there you go, we've gone ahead and cleaned up the main part of the hull and it's looking absolutely fantastic, even to the point we've gone and got rid of all the rubbish and disgustingness off them foam pads, and it looks a lot better. I just ran over it quickly with a little bit of a heat gun just to put a bit of heat into it, just to kind of singe the front of it so when you touch it, it doesn't just flake off little foam bowls and stuff. So it's feeling pretty good now, looking pretty good, and it's all coming up really nicely. So the next thing we're going to do now is we're going to just go ahead, siphon the fuel out of the fuel tank so we can start strapping that thing back in. Alright guys, so we've got the first strap in here, that's all sorted. Alright, so this strap here, we've got the oil pump disconnected from here. I don't trust them on two-strokes, especially not jet skis. I heard they've got a tendency of leaning out too much on the center cylinder and causing damage, so I disconnected it. I got the block kit for it. So I did remove the bottle when I did this, and I did have a foam block under it which done its job, which held it in place and everything else, but in saying that, it's not the tidiest looking thing. So I've got some new polystyrene foam and we're going to go and try and make a decent one. Hopefully we can have a nice looking little block back in there so it looks nice and tidy when you lift the hood.
Another magnificent program of distinction by that master hand, that connoisseur and dilettante, that untiring seeker of new talent, SLYVESTER MACARONI. Who again with his keen perception has unearthed a new find, a great discovery, that brilliant virtuoso and genius of the symphony, Maestro Michel Mouse, who is to be our guest conductor for this evening. And now the Maestro is approaching the podium. He raises his baton, and we hear...
Alright guys, so there we go. We've got our finished product here. Just a bit of foam. We've gone and profiled it out. And as you've seen, we tried cutting it with the hacksaw. And it kind of cut all over the shop there. And we worked out if we just chucked one of my blade onto the front of the butane gun, a couple of crocodile clips, let it get hot, then just slice through like butter, not a drama. And then we just finished it off with a bit of profiling with the sander. Came up relatively well, sits into the tank nicely. As you've seen, I didn't have a piece that didn't have a chop out, so we had to actually add a little section in there. I did put some glue on it, but I've gone and just chucked a little bit of silicone over the joint as well, just to stop any water from getting in there. So we'll have to let that dry before we can actually install it. But if you looked at the original one that we had there, it was just 2 pieces of foam just stuck together. I didn't have a real good old effort at all last time. And I mean, that thing held the tank in, no dramas at all. All it's to do is to help strap the fuel tank in. Because we've removed the 2-stroke tank, the second strap isn't taut. So this here will go in there and it's in place of the 2-stroke tank. Straps down nice and tight, holds that tank in place. You beaut. While we're waiting, I'll show you a little bit of what's been rocking up. Alright guys, so check this out. So a big shout out to Dan's Powder Coating in Whyalla. He's done a sensational job once again. As you can see, all powder coated, nice. Check out that purple though. So he gave me the website for the colours, and I went on there and I found this colour here, and I thought that colour goes pretty well perfect with the ski, the purple on the ski. So he ordered it in and he's chucked it on, and it looks absolutely sensational. And check this out here. He went above and beyond, and check that out, how cool that looks. That Yamaha sign just hangs out there. Looks absolutely sensational. So I'm really hanging to get this thing back together. Still waiting on a few parts yet, but they're starting to really rock up. I'll show you what else is rocked up. So check out them bad boys. Absolutely awesome. Really happy with the condition. So as you can see, the reason we replaced them on my original casings, all inside on these were pretty well pitted out. One of them to the point that there was actually blowholes through it. We did try getting my mate to have a shot. He did have a good old crack at welding it up, but it just didn't quite work. Didn't want to take any chances of it blowing out once the build's done. So we've gone ahead. They were pretty pricey suckers to get these things, and I couldn't find them in Australia, so I did have to go through the States. But we got it in the end, and I'm super chuffed. So we'll have to get these things blasted up soon and get them to the powder coaters to get them blackened. Then we can start putting this sucker back together. Alright, so we also managed to get a set of these bad boys. Really hard to track down in good condition, but I'm super chuffed. We found a set. They were pretty pricey, but I wanted to pay that little bit extra because the only other option we had was an aftermarket black set, and they were plastic. And I really wanted to go the purple just to keep the ski looking OEM. So super chuffed, we managed to track a set down, and we got them bad boys here too. Alright, last but not least, we got another fuel pump. Now it's not that the other one wasn't working or nothing like that, but I was looking at the condition of it, and I was looking at rebuild kits, and the rebuild kits were up past $100. When I managed to pick this thing up for 120, brand spanker, ready to go. So I thought, you know what, we'll just get the brand new fuel pump, chuck it on, we know everything's going to be running well. So super chuffed. So as you can see, we're getting all the parts together now. Everything's starting to look fantastic. Super loving that purple on the parts and bits and pieces. Can't wait to get that together. First chance we get, we're going to get that cases into the blaster, get them sandblasted and sent off to Dan's Powder Coating, get that finished off. Once that's done, it's pretty much start smacking this thing back together and starting to make it look perfect. So we've still got a few bits and pieces we're still trying to chase up, just a couple of trim bits and stuff like that. Just in conversation with a couple of guys in America at the moment, trying to organise postage prices and stuff like that. Can't wait, we can sort it all out and get it here. It's going to be fantastic, have this ski looking schmicky duck. And it won't be long and this thing will be back out on the water. But for tonight, we've got to wait for the silicone to dry on that block piece that we've made up. So we'll probably be back out here tomorrow morning, get that fitted in, see how it comes out.
This is Baton, and we hear.
The last thing we're going to do, go and take care of. We've just got a bit of foam just to chuck over this patch here. So there's a rubber mount that goes on the bottom of the motor, just rests on the hull. As you can see, it does mark it a little bit. So what I'm going to do is just put a bit of foam, a couple of foam strips over the top of that, so when it's rested down, it's all nice and tidy. Alright guys, so it's the next morning. We've gone ahead, come out here, gone and grabbed it, chucked it in, and it's looking a hell of a lot neater than the original one did. And it's strapped in nice and tidy. I did have to actually add about a 20mm piece just underneath it, just to make the strap taunt up a little bit more. I put it in and it pulled it down nicely, but it wasn't quite tight enough, so I've just gone and chucked a 20mm spacer of foam underneath that again, and it's pulled down really nice and snug now. And it's sitting in there really good, looks good, nice and tidy, neat, so really cool. We are going to call that a wrap for this video. We've achieved a fair bit in this one. We managed to get all the internal of the hull nice and cleaned out. Where all the damage on the foam was, we got that all sorted out. We managed to pull the tank out, clean up underneath it, get all that nice and tidy. New fuel lines, new telltale line, all run in there nice and tidy. Looking really cool, really sweet. Managed to cut out that new foam piece profile to replace the two-stroke tank. And it looks all nice and tidy in there, looking absolutely fantastic. Don't forget, if you want the inside scoop before YouTube, jump on Instagram or Facebook, StayTrue TV, find us, follow us along, and you'll see things as we're going along behind the scenes with the builds. Don't forget to set your notifications for upcoming videos, because this thing is going to start coming together really quickly once we get going. Can hardly wait to get this thing back on the water and see how well it goes. And last but not least, we want to say thank you for your love and support to the channel. We really do appreciate you taking your time to watch our videos. Stay safe, and we'll catch you next time.